Hey everyone, I have an exciting guest for us today for our celebrity series. This is Ted Winslow, and he is an award-winning music producer that specializes in high frequency music and sound and all of that. And we're definitely going to dive into all of that with you guys. But I wanted to ask Ted, for your guys' benefit, anyone who would like to get into the industry or want to know, like, how do you go from from this to where he's at. So Ted, oh my gosh, like, how did all this happen for you? Like, were you always interested in music from when you were little? And was this like your focus most of your life, that you knew you wanted to do this kind of thing?
Pretty much. I've always been interested in music. I started out at saxophone. I was awful. I played drums, piano. I got into guitar when I was about 16, and then got into bass guitar. And so the bass guitar, and the reason why I got into bass is because at that time, growing up, everybody got into guitars. So everybody in school was a guitar player, but there was no bass players. And I really wanted to be able to get out there and play with a group. So I figured, oh, what the heck, I'll go ahead and kind of learn more with bass. That led to music theory, that led to vocal training, and then by the time I got into college, I was studying music and technical engineering. So I was already, wow. I was already I developed to be a studio musician with my playing bass guitar. Always wanted to be better at singing, so that helped in the studio to have another backup singer that was kind of already on the dime, so to speak. And I didn't really want the university to teach me how to play because I was kind of already doing it professionally and being paid for it. And I was looking through the glass at the guys at the other side who were playing with the tape machines and these great big analog tape machines. That's like back in the day. And I'm like, man, I want to learn what they're doing. And so I quickly changed one of my degrees around and minored in voice and studied technical engineering and audio engineering and started getting into the technology field. And
Wow.
that was how I got my legs started up in music. And from there, entertained record companies. We had investors that were investing in the bands that I was playing in, and got to travel quite a bit playing.
What kind of music? What kind
Rock
of music was
music,
it?
if you can believe.
Rock.
I liked all music. Yeah, it was bizarre because I played a lot of the rock clubs. That was where I made most of my money at. But I loved the spontaneity and the improvisation of jazz. So I would go to jazz clubs and just actually sit in and really developed my chops on playing there because it was just so out there with what you were doing with jazz music that it was fun. And then that led to jazz fusion drumming, which is pretty hard because it's a whole different type of beat playing on off beats and stuff. So that's kind of where I got, and I just loved music all to this day, constantly love it. Always playing anything, building guitars to playing them and refurbishing I just refurbished a baby grand piano in our house.
Wow. Wow. So okay. Did any of those bands ever like become successful? Like have albums and stuff?
Yeah, a couple of them we did. Not that you can really find on the market anymore because so much has changed through the years, but there's a couple of guys that I've played with that have gone on to become pretty big. In fact, one of the guys I grew up playing with, he just got a record contract from Columbia. So, I mean, and we've all kind of would switch from here and there to where we were going because my path ended up leaving out of the rock world and landing to doing what I do right now. And it was kind of like more or less when I had met my wife, she was listening to some sound healing music. And I'd studied a little bit with frequency in college, which kind of led me on some other paths. But as I was hearing what she was listening to, I was like, God, honey, I hate to say this sounds like really bad elevator music. And she's like, okay, rock star, let's see what you can do. And that led me to putting out my first album, and really testing the waters with it. And when I did that, it just opened up a whole nother realm of doors and messages that I just started getting into, and to leading to today. I'm like working on, I think, my 22nd or 23rd album that's commercially out there. I have about 300 plus tracks that's like iTunes, Amazon, Spotify, you name it. I've got like on Spotify is really cool for me because I mentioned earlier that I had started with cutting on tape machines where we were making albums and just trying to get on like on FM stations, so to speak. And now I look at what Spotify is, and like I'm on 3,000 plus playlists, and
That's awesome.
an international audience. So it's like, I love you guys. Thank you, Apple, Spotify, Amazon.
That's so cool. How did you, like, tell me about the scientific stuff. Tell me about the professor that you worked with.
Okay, so I'll back up here a little bit. I get lengthy on stories, so always just jump in and interrupt me and go, Ted,
this is a great story. I love it.
come back. So
Okay.
I was working with a lot of different technologies, in particular one that I had developed, which was sound sync tech. And unbeknownst to me, my name had gotten to this international doctor, Dr. Konstantin Karakov. Yes, Ted. Yes, Ted. I always do the imitation of him. Yes, Ted. Yes, very good. Very good. And he happened to be here actually up in Boulder, where you're from. And he was there at one of the studios. And somebody had called up and said, look, you've got to come up. You got to meet Dr. Karakov. We've got pass for you. Come up, meet with him. He has just done this amazing work with his equipment and testing the human energy field. So, and he's a doctor, teaches out of the University of St. Petersburg in Russia. So, and he's developed and expanded on biophotonic imaging. I'm like, this is great, fantastic. And I'd seen a little bit of the devices with some clients that I had worked with in the past. And so I got up there and got to meet with him, and got to test out some of my music and learn more about his technology, and started working on some of the systems with that. And they had his chief engineer from St. Petersburg. He flew him out while I was contracted with another company to go and put more of these devices together and just work and play with them. And so I got to work with these biophotonic imaging systems. Now, what that is it's basically the convergence of photons and life science. It's a technology that's been around for generations. He just kind of like expanded onto it. That's the manipulation and detection of light using photons and quantum-like particles of light instead of electrons to transmit and process and store information.
Wow.
So it's a pretty amazing thing. And so these devices are really cool. For example, I could sit there and I would test somebody that was like a baseline test, just like as if we're talking. I'd say, hey, Amy, how you doing? Here, let me go ahead and run a test on you, and I'd kind of get your test with it. And one person I did that, and I look at it, and it'll go from everything with the body, of scanning the body, to the jawbones, to backs, to knee. And this person, I was like, wow, you know what? Do you have any pain in your jaw? I'm showing something on the right side of your jaw. And they're like, no, I don't have any pain. And we kind of go through and we would test them further to see how we could change the energy field, say for music, for example. And sure enough, there was the part right there on the right side of their jaw. And I'm like, boy, we're still showing that thing that's on your jaw. Well, they were chewing gum. And it could do so much as pick up to the fact that she had gum in the right side of her mouth. So that's how it can pinpoint to where it's going with the energy.
Whoa, okay.
Crystals. I have a video that's up on YouTube on our big country publishing website. And it will actually show, we did Himalayan sea salt, we did copper, obsidian to shungite, and could see how crystals would hold energy. That's how it was. So it was great for him to recognize my music and what I was doing with binaural beats and brainwave entrainment as an easy way that I could test somebody who was having a bad day, or see how quickly that my music could affect them with these frequencies and change them back. And so that's how we developed just a great relationship with each other.
Wow. So your music was changing their aura?
Yeah, it was changing the human energy field.
Whoa.
It really pretty quick. And what was amazing that I would find is that people that would listen to it and became familiar with it, it would change them even that much faster.
Doesn't it even repair like rips and tears in the aura?
Yep. Oh yeah, it fills it in. I've got so what was wonderful about this is that now you can have a visualization to see it, right? So I knew with my music and hearing it, and I could feel it, and I was hearing it. I didn't know how I'd be able to show the world, okay, let's see scientifically what this is doing for you. And through this process, now people can see scientifically how it is changing them. Again, I deal with new frequencies, so most of the frequencies that we're used to hearing is in 440 hertz. And I won't go into detail on that unless you want me to. And so you got to think from the day that we were born, since they came out and started putting that, every instrument just about has been tuned to 440 hertz. And it's actually a dissonant frequency. That's what led me when I started going on my career.
Wait, when you say dissonant, can you like explain to people what that means?
Yeah, it's dissonant. It's like, okay, if someone takes a thumbtack and puts like pressure on you, you just kind of like, that's just aggravating. It doesn't feel good. Another example, militaries have used that to blast that at people, which would be a type of a military warfare that they were using.
Wow.
With cranking that up. I mean, not many people know that.
Okay.
And so we're hearing that and we're being programmed with it. It's like a fight or flight response. You think of a horse, right? A horse is not going to fight. A horse is going to be like, I don't want to deal with this. I'm out of here. Whereas you might have something like a rhinoceros or no, a hippo. I was watching something.
It causes anxiety, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. In short, it causes anxiety.
We're like inundated with that 440 hertz all the time. Holy crap. That doesn't surprise me. That does not surprise me.
You think about it from the time. What did you do? What's that?
What did you do about that?
Well, that when I came to realizing that, because like when I realized a lot of as a musician, I'm playing this and I can't sleep, and I'm like, what could I do? And when I started playing with some of these different tunings and realizing the frequencies, and it led me to studying more with it. That's what led me to embark on the path. I'm like, well, okay, great. We're bombarded with those frequencies. We can listen to those to agitate us to, I say the bodybuilder syndrome, where if you want to go into the gym, man, you can get a good workout with that, right? Because you're going to be fired up. If you're competing, it'll fire you up. What do you do when you're done with that? How do you relax? How do you come down? What if you have anxiety from your day where your boss is come down on you for something that you thought you did a wonderful project on, and it's the greatest thing for the company, and they're like, no, everybody wants it to be in this direction. You've got family trauma and drama that hits you when you get home from work. How do you bring yourself back to your higher self? How do you get back to your signature soul energy to calm down and relax? And that's what led me to developing this music. To see, okay, I'm bringing this so that it's filling in my aura after people have taken shots at it from all day long with negative fight or flight stuff that they wanted to put at me or portray onto me, or if they're having a bad day, dumping it on me. How do you build yourself back up in a much natural, more healing way? So I like to say we're oscillatory beings. We're all energy. Energy is all around us, and we are our own energetic thumbprint in this universe. And if we're listening to the same thing that everybody else has with the 440 for ages since we've been growing up, that's all we know, and it's not effective anymore. So all my tracks that you see with my music deal with a frequency that will be a hertz, and the hertz is the measurement of that frequency.
Wow. And I love that you have all this scientific proof.
that
Endless amounts of scientific proof about all of this working.
Yeah, it was funny because I worked a lot with people, say, with their voice, because you think of our sound healing instrument, oscillatory, our own energy, all of our voices are like a thumbprint.
Mm.
And in fact, I back in the day, I'd studied voice underneath of digital analysis to see what was certain characteristics that pop out of that. Whole different can of worms. But as I was working with people in vocal training and vocal toning, knowing that we can heal ourselves as well with our own voice, there was an individual that came in, and I wanted to run the biophotonic imaging with her to see how she was doing. And unbeknownst to me, she did not like to sing. No one told me this. So she shows up in the studio, and she's having just a terrible day already as it is. And I put some headphones on her, and I get her into singing, and I start to play this, and as I'm playing it through her headphones, I'm like, I want you to sing along with the vocal toning, which are different scales to help raise our vibration. And keep in mind, this was after I ran the baseline results with her, so to speak.
Okay.
And she's like, Ted, I don't sing. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I've heard that. None of us sing, right? She's, no, Ted, I hate singing. And I'm thinking, oh, well, can you do it for this? No, Ted, I don't like singing. I never have. I won't sing. And I'm going, I've blown this experiment. I don't know what to do with this. And I'm like, okay, well, let's just hum along with it. And she's like, yeah, okay. And so I start playing it. She's like, I hate my boss. I hate my job. I hate everything. You know, and I'm just kind of like, go with it. I'm like, okay, that's great. Let's go see where you're at. And I ran it. Sure enough, she's repairing up her feels. Like, you hate singing, and it's funny, but look, you just healed yourself. I go, how do you feel? She's like, I feel great. I bet you do. So it was like, great. I'm like, Dr. Krokop. Yes, Ted, yes. You're not going to believe this. Yes, I know that it works good.
So you mean that even though she was in a negative space, the energy that she was being fed was changing it into positivity?
It changed her. She didn't even know it. She walked out of here. She's no longer mad or anything. She's like, this is great. I'm going to go home.
That's awesome.
I had a family. This is bad to say. There was a family that they had some one of their siblings. They were adults, and their sibling was under hard times and like lost their house and had lost their job, and so she was taking care of him and having them stay with him. And she had a young son that was just bouncing off of the walls, and so the home, my friend says, like, Ted, I don't know what to do with this. My nephew is just going crazy, jumping all over the place. I can't get him to calm down. And no friends, I said, why don't you play my frequencies for him? And the kid just like mellowed out. She's like, this is great. We play your frequencies in the house all the time now. We're cooking with them. I'm like, it's cooking with love.
That's awesome.
It's yeah. So that was great to be able to be with God. Now I can show people, and I've got videos on my website. If your listeners go there, and I'll tell you what, I want to give them away a free album too. So
awesome.
On my website, on tedwinslow.com, you can go there, and I've got videos that are my YouTube videos that are posted there, so people can see for themselves. Because we all hear musicians that are like, oh, I've got a magic guitar. I've got 15. But it's like you want to see the science for yourself, how this does it, and it's a great way that they could see what I've done with the testing for clients. Now, so people can hear for themselves. I have, if they go on to there, again, tedwinslow.com, and go into the store. And inside the store, you'll look up Angelic Sound Healing with Binaural Beats. And this album is special to me. It put me on the map. It's actually one of my Amazon bestsellers still to this day. And you can download it for free. If you go on there, you'll go ahead and select it, and you'll go to checkout on it. Now, don't put in any credit card information that's on there. It's going to be a digital copy, and you'll download the digital files onto your computer. iPhones, iPads, we've had problems with them trying to do it, so it should be from a computer. And you'll put in a coupon code, radio, RADIO, and it'll zero out your balance, so you're not putting in any credit card information. You have to answer some questions because my site does get hit internationally so much that I just don't want it to be those robots that are hitting it. We want to make sure that it's a human. So they can download it onto there, or I'm on Amazon playlists. I'm on Spotify playlists. Please look me up and find it. I'm making Delta. We'll talk about the deltas in a little bit, as well as alpha, theta, and gamma is the latest ones I've been working with.
Well, thank you for doing that. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Also, you're the reason that I know that I have delta waves in my voice. You told me that.
Yep.
And I learned from you that those who are listening to me on my channel are actually becoming more intuitive themselves because of those delta waves. And it's true. I've heard so many people report back saying, ever since I've been listening to your channel or watching your channel or listening to your things, like I go to sleep for listening to you. I don't get an insult because I know what those delta waves do. And I know it's very relaxing for them. But also all these people are like, I'm dreaming about you. You're helping me in my dreams too. I'm becoming more psychic. My gifts are developing like crazy. And so why don't you tell everyone what these delta waves are about? What do they do?
Okay, so delta waves are I've been talking about hertz, so they're basically 4 hertz or less. And inside of that, our body, when we get down into, so like right now as we're talking, we're in what's called beta, right? Mm-hmm. And then you can go down through alpha, theta, and get into delta, and I can go into those as well. But delta was really cool, which is what we actually use. My wife and I do wellpoint hypnosis, which you're one of our practitioners, esteemed practitioners. And we found through that with hypnosis, we can retrain the body so that it's becoming more into a deeper dreamless sleep. Not sleep, so to speak, but it's where the body can heal and restore itself. It releases anti-aging hormones, which is including melatonin, HGH, DHEA. And it's this place that is the deepest relaxation, the deepest healing, the deepest spiritual connection, and the deepest connection with our subconscious mind. It is considered to be the gateway to the unconscious mind and the collective unconsciousness, bringing access to the universal psyche or the mind. And so it's got so many great benefits that are with that it helps bring us into that state of consciousness.
Awesome. And you have albums that gear toward all of the different types of waves so that you can enhance those. You know, you get the delta waves in you, and like I said, you become more psychic and you become more relaxed and all of this stuff. But you have albums that are actually like geared toward specifically targeting those waves for whatever you need, right?
Correct. Because you think that I spoke with the frequencies already, and this is separate than the frequencies, so to speak, that I had mentioned a little bit earlier in our conversation. That's just one way to entrain us, but then I incorporate into that with that frequency. So I'm going to say 432. 432 hertz is our universal frequency. And then I'll do a delta inside of that 432 for the specific reason of doing that, with what we're talking with hypnosis, with bringing people into the conscious, opening up their intuitive abilities, which is brainwave entrainment, right? Mm-hmm. I do all of this through a technology that I had developed called SoundSync Tech. So it's a customized brainwave technology through binaural beats, composition, tuning, and state-of-the-art recording technologies with the frequencies, and which is essential for, as oscillatory beings, synchronizing us into that area. Now, brainwave entrainment, I'm sure many people realize what that is, but the scientific aspect of it, it's basically billions of neurons throughout your brain are communicating with one another through electricity. And it's these electrical pulses that are actually rhythms and natures, hence the binaural beats, right? And just like any rhythm sequence, in nature, it's just like it elicits the brain frequency through what I call follow and response, that the brain waves are aligning our frequency to that given frequency in the binaural beats so that we can come out of that fight or flight, come into the relaxation. Now, where this was cool is as I was going through the journey as a musician and stepping into these realms of the unified field of consciousness, I started realizing my intuition just started picking up really quickly. I was seeing stuff that I never could see beforehand. You know, it could be one of those things like make a right turn here, and you make a right turn with your car, and you find out that 2 minutes just before you were going that other route, there was a big accident that had happened that could have been you. And it's taking us out of the realm and putting us into our higher self, into the unified field of consciousness. And benefits are amazing along with that. You have optimal range for visualization. Mind programming used for creative power is where your mind begins. So as a musician, I play every instrument. Where do you start? Bass, guitar, keyboards, drum, and that visualization, that creative aspect starts to open up so that I'm continuously writing in the studio, doing what I love to do, keeping it fresh every single day. It's the mental state in which we're consciously creating our realities now. Music is such a hard field for a lot of musicians to be in. A lot of money's been taken out. You could see it, you spend a lot of time trying to get into venues playing. You know, where do you begin recording? I get long-winded. I apologize.
No, this is awesome stuff. I love it.
It's the deep, for me, it's the deep spiritual connection and the unity with the universe that can be experienced. And that's what I love with music. You think of our reality that we see with the frequencies that I've been explaining. I got to quit talking with my hands. My wife always gets upset. I'm like, okay, you know, turn here. She's like, Ted, put your hands down. You know, as a kid, I was that kid at the dinner table, like always beating rhythms on the drum. My mom was like, Ted, no, not here. That's rude. So I apologize, people. I apologize for it.
It's entertaining. It's okay.
Yeah, Ted, go listen to the delta waves and come back. Okay.
Go sit in the corner and listen to some delta.
Yeah, go sit in the car. I'm going to do that with my kids. You've been bad today. Go listen to some delta and come back when you're ready. You'll never come back.
Does your wife have a speaker in the doghouse all delta?
Yeah. Totally. She's pulled it out. I know, so I don't come out anymore.
I got another question for you.
Yeah, sure.
As you know, I am all about love. And I believe the two of you are true love. And I just think this is really great proof and evidence of what can happen when two people come together like this. I always say, like, if the two of you don't do something collaboratively or to work on some kind of passion project together,
yeah,
couples get depressed. True love gets depressed about that. So I always encourage them, work on something together. It doesn't even matter if it doesn't even matter what it is, but you got to be working on something kind of creative together. And look,
absolutely.
Your wife totally changed your career and put you off in this direction. Now you guys are working on this incredible endeavor together with wellpoint hypnosis, which is boggling. It's just amazing what you guys have done. But can you share with us a little bit? I hope Christina doesn't mind, but I mean, she shares it, you know, she shares it with us too. But, you know, could you share a little bit about your history and how that all happened and came to be to inspire us?
About how we do business together, how we met, or
yeah, like wasn't it a little difficult in coming together because so many true lovers are like that. They're so frustrating at first, and it's like sometimes it takes years, and then finally it busts through, and you guys finally like find enough self-worth to be like, okay, I'm going to embrace this love instead, and then look what it did for you guys.
So I'm a shy individual. And so it's really hard for me to talk with people. That's probably why I hide behind a guitar or a music instrument, because it's kind of like that little barrier, like, hey, I can be the monkey, you know? And so I was really shy, and I was working a corporate job at the time, and she was just happened to be filling in at her uncle had a flower shop right by my office space, and she happened to be in there one day. And she pushed the person aside and to help me out. And I was buying a plant for somebody that was like a referral of it, but I was worried about, well, now I'm getting long-winded on it. I apologize. So I met her. I met her there, and she was like, "Well, here, give me your name and number, and I'm opening up a yoga studio." And so I had no idea that she was like trying to say, "Hey, let's kind of get together and take this. You know, I'd like to be interested in meeting with you." And I'm like, "Oh, she's trying to sell me a yoga class. I'm not limber at all. I can't do that." And so I didn't pay attention to it. And so she's like, "Well, your line of business, maybe you can help me out." And I'm like, and being an idiot, I'm like, this person's more specialized for what you're looking for with that. They'll be helping me out. And so she finally is like, well, let's go to lunch. One way or another, we're like, okay, we'll go to lunch. So I'm going to go pick her up for lunch during the day. And at her yoga studio, unbeknownst to me, the fire department had showed up, and they're like, okay, we have to do a certificate of occupation, make sure there's no fire hazards in here, right? And as I'm pulling up, I see this fire engine outside of her studio, and I'm like, oh my God, this isn't, that's not good. I don't know what to do. She's coming out, and there's all these fires. She's like, I've got a lunch. I got to go meet with this guy. And they're like, oh, okay. They get in the fire engine, and they drive by me because she pointed me out in the car, you know, sitting like an idiot in the car, like, oh my God, what's going on? And this fire truck of all these firemen just going, hi. Yeah, she is really not interested in me. So we had lunch, and one thing led to another, and we've been together ever since. And it's been great. We've started many businesses together, and it's truly like a yin and a yang, where I'm like off in this direction, she's off in this direction. Our relationship complements each other to the most, and it's just it's beautiful. She's my soulmate.
I think it's like when you take, for those of you when you take their classes, they're actually both involved. She's doing all the talking, he's doing all the video, and to see them interact,
I'm in the back in the corner.
It is precious, you guys. It is the cutest thing you would ever see. Oh my gosh.
Amy, thank you. That's so sweet. Thank you so much.
You guys are so precious, and you are so great at spotting her and making sure that everything is you know, you got all your hand signals that you're doing back and forth. You guys are just
she's giving me the middle finger, right?
And your guys' humor too. You guys are always just like playful puppies, you know. You guys are just so cute. I just love you guys. And it's just amazing to see this come together. And I really do believe that when you come together with the person that you're meant to be with like that, it's magical. It's like the blessings just pour out in all these many, many ways. Obviously, you guys have been tremendously blessed in being able to work together like you do.
Oh, well, it's just being in the vibration and being in that same frequency. And as with anything that we do, just that love for the nature and the respect for what it is, be it a relationship, be it your career, be it a job, and you know, the good and the bad. It's all learning, and it's all fun. And you know, I'm truly fortunate. She's a wonderful person and has put up with a lot from me.
Wouldn't you say that like one of the major barriers in a true love relationship is like feeling worthy of it?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
How do you get over that? How have you guys, you've probably both been through that. So how do you get through that?
Well, like I had no self-confidence and was really shy until I met her, and she was actually the one that's able to pull me through that and make me be able to see part of the sense of self-worth in myself, and the confidence of being able to do like what I do today, that even when it fall down, to have that special other person be there to help pick you up and, you know, dust you off while you wipe the tears out of your eyes and just keep kind of going on through it. Yeah. And so it was that was the thing, that she was always there to be turning what I would, as my stumbling blocks and weaknesses, really around into strengths, and looking at it as more of a the word's not coming to me and I'm going to use the wrong word. Then she'll really kill me. but turning those weaknesses kind of into strengths and just
Yeah.
an understanding and a mutual respect through it all.
Yeah, I found that. Yeah, with true love, there's this respect that's automatically there too. And it's like getting over also like trying like learning to love yourself, to want that kind of harmonious connection, rather than the toxic stuff you had in the past where there was always this, I mean, there's always going to be disagreements and stuff, but like with toxic people of the past, they just didn't get you. This person gets you, works as a team with you, right?
Yeah, exactly. So like I was big into the motorcycling community, and loved.
Oh yeah, that's a world.
not that community.
Oh geez, I know that one. Oh Lord.
But she didn't want to ride. And you know, here we have two beautiful children, and it was scary for her. Like I had an epiphany one day. I'm like, I've got to ride my motorcycle to Alaska. And here we have two little kids, and she was like, okay, be safe. And you know, I got to go on that journey, but I never pushed that onto her. I wasn't part of a Harley gang or anything like that. It was a BMW RS 1200 GS that I ride. And it's a great bike because it can go anywhere. It literally is built to go around the world. And so I really wanted to take, I'm here in Denver, 5,000 miles up to Alaska, and then jumped on, and she felt the connection that I had to go into Juneau. So there's no roads into Juneau, Alaska. And I had to get on a ship with my motorcycle and tie it down on side of the ship because you're on this pitching ship.
Whoa.
And get into there and then ride it off, and it was just a huge rainstorm, and I found like the last room in Juneau, and the next day rode it to this place that oh my god, I can't believe I'm forgetting it, and it was the most beautiful place. They had a labyrinth that you could walk. It literally had a spiritual journey that goes out onto this island with this small little cathedral that was built there. I cannot believe I'm forgetting the name. This huge spiritual journey, and it's the names and stuff are gone, right? And so it was just amazing. Anyway, I digress here.
That is amazing. Wait, so you, if I'm understanding you right, you listened to her intuition and you went to Juneau, and it led to incredible spiritual experience. That's
Shrine of Saint Teresa.
Together as a team, that's awesome. You like totally listened, and do you normally?
All the time.
Really?
Motorcycle trip to Alaska. I wrote my first album from that. That's where I became a solo musician when I came back.
Really? That is awesome. Wow.
Yeah. And she's the same way. I know she wants to do certain things, and with her growth and development, as we all do spiritually, physically, mentally, and I know that there's things I'm not going to be capable of doing, but to support her to go out there and do that, so that when she comes back and she is tired, she's got a great place to crash and regroup and build her energy back up. Because it's all about the journey, right? It's a crazy life that we're running around in here.
Yes. Well, when you were talking about the yin and yang, and it's like, I always describe it as like somebody's really great at the bookkeeping and somebody is really good at the emotional. And you guys,
I'm the emotional one, and she's the bookkeeper.
Yeah, and you guys can be like an automatic brake system.
Right.
Where somebody catches over here, and the other goes, "Whoop! I got you over here," and then oh, we got you here. You know.
Yeah, baby steps.
How long have you guys been together?
About 20 years, I think.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Kids?
Yep, we have 2 kids.
That is so sweet. I love it.
And so we're fortunate they kind of have the best of both of us, and and there's another journey to be able to share. They have the whatever I do to screw them up, she makes them better.
Well, and then you make music that's exclusive to Wellpoint Hypnosis Method.
Yes.
Can you talk about why it's exclusive and what makes it exclusive?
So she's a master hypnotherapist. And when we were realizing as she was working with a lot of clients through hypnosis and working with the modality that has come to be known as wellpoint hypnosis method, I was on the other end seeing with Dr. Krakoff how it was changing our energy field. And so we kind of realized that how could you combine and put these two together? Because there were some parts of hypnosis where people were using music, so to speak, and to help them relax and put so that they could go under a little bit easier, a little bit faster. Some people had a hard time going under and being influenced with it. Music is one way that we realized could help. Well, some individuals may or could have had a traumatic event with that type of music. And not to mention, we spoke earlier about how everything's in 440, which is a dissonant frequency. We realized you put that with 532 or 528 or 432 or another healing frequency, getting the benefits of these delta frequencies that you're using, and you can go a lot deeper into hypnosis. The thing about my music is that it's not going to have any bad experiences from other people or past life experiences. That's what I'm actually trying to get to. So you could have somebody going through and say they're going through hypnosis and they go and experience a past life hypnosis thing. And it might have been during the classical era where they had heard a lot of classical music, but they were like brutalized or torn apart during that era. And now all of a sudden they're like having a really bad experience, at least with my music they haven't heard and with a different frequency and intention. That's where we started seeing a lot of benefits starting to happen. And it is just like taken off, and we realized how great and beneficial that it is for helping us. And I was the guinea pig because I'd write these albums and like, okay, my background, I played semi-pro football, so I have that football mentality, motorcycle enthusiast, and I have an album that's Frequency of the Fairies. What is that?
Black.
You have no idea what that's like going on a ride with your buddy in leathers going, by the way, Ted, what are you working on? Frequency of the Fairies? Yeah. You must be mad. So, but it literally, she put me underneath hypnosis, and I went back into, at one point I'm like speaking in Gaelic, and all of this information started coming in, and it was that album, and it was through a wellpoint hypnosis session that I did it, and tapping back into it, and I wrote that album. And you know what, despite what those guys in leather say, they listen to that album, I know, when they're home alone.
Have they admitted it?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I don't know much about the cover and I wouldn't do it, but I've listened to that. Ted, that's pretty good. And I'm like, yeah, I know.
Oh God, I love it. See, but that's you being authentic and going against the grain and being like, you know what, this is who I am now.
I'm lucky they didn't like shove me off the road. Yeah, no, exactly.
You listened to spirit, you listened to what your intuition was telling you, and it said, go make this fairy album. And you didn't care about your reputation or how you were going to look to these guys. You just had to do it, and you followed, and look at how successful you became because of it.
Yeah, it's and that's the beauty of it, that we all vibrate, in those frequencies. You can relate with it. And those who, you've experienced the wellpoint sessions, and you can really go deep into different realms and different experiences with what you're doing. You're tapping into this unified field of consciousness and getting this information. And that it's embarking on a journey of self-discovery and empowerment. And that's where these delta frequencies have really helped with going into that. That's like my key tool with, as I mentioned earlier, with creativity. That's my key tool with being able to write albums. I'm finishing up. I just finished writing my next album, and I'm going into what's called the mixing and mastering phase. I hope to have that out in hopefully in the next 2 months. But the next album is coming straight through me right now. So it's just a flow. It's like drinking from the fountain of youth that just keeps it going and rejuvenated.
Wow. So cool. So any tips on how to work well with your love? Like what types of things maybe have come across that were kind of difficult, and how did you face it or anything like that?
No matter what, always nod your head in a vertical fashion. Keep your mouth shut and just say yeah. It's just a mutual respect and a love for one another. You know, her growth is just as important to me as, say, my own spiritual growth. And I love watching how she's grown with wellpoint hypnosis. I love watching her how she's grown as an author and a lot of the accomplishments that she has had. And being a part to be that rock on the other end to see where that goes and how she develops is really just the beauty and the art in and of itself of this universal development that we're going through. And to be able to support each other with what you do. We're going to fall, and we're going to fall hard. I think that we all know to be respectful. There's those your do's and your don'ts, and those never really should be talked about, and those don't ever push those boundaries because it's just not worth it to either one of you guys. And so that's what really makes the development, that sharing our two kids, sharing a business together, sharing a life together. Of course we get sick and tired of each other. She especially gets sick of me, because not to mention with all my hand movements. But you know, there's a lot of the same energies that we can have, and it's realizing, okay, let's just go ahead and nurture this and build with it. Have another cup of tea, eh?
Do you guys spend time apart that way, or what do you do?
We really don't spend that much time apart. I like going and doing crazy adventures, and I'm fortunate that my son is the same way. And so he and I will take off and go do our crazy adventures, whether it be something like hitting an extreme mountain biking park, or I like to go up into backpacking and just sleeping on the ground. Packing in for a couple of days and packing out. So he'll go do that with me. She, you know, I don't blame her. She does not want to be on the ground with bugs crawling over her and you know, having to dig your own toilet, you know, packing out your food that you come in with. She's more of the 5-star resort, which, don't get me wrong, I like that too. So it's like, I'll go do the backpacking, let's go hit the 5-star.
Yeah, right.
Or in our case, a 3-star. Yeah.
Take a shower and get a pedicure.
Yeah. We do the 3 stars. We just draw in 2 more and say it's a 5-star.
Right.
Right.
So also, for those of you watching, if you're interested in all of this, this program that they've developed, Christina and I just recently did a wellpoint hypnosis talk. We talked all about the program, and she's actually offering you guys an incredible discount if you want to look into that. For being able to take an online class and learn how to do it yourself and incorporate it into your own business somehow, or it may just become your thing. So if you want to watch that video, take a look for that. The promo code is Amy. And thank you, Christina, for offering that to my fans. That's awesome, my viewers. Okay, so how about tips for anybody who is really interested in getting into a music career, or even sound, or anything like that? Like, what are some things that you could tell us that would help somebody, you know, kind of nurture that along and not give up?
The biggest thing is, I'm sure everybody says this too, so I hope I don't sound cliche, but you know, follow your passion with it. Knowledge is so important. I am always constantly reading, studying, looking at new, because I'm big into technology, and it's like, learn anything that you can. Start out with something that you think that is really good with it. Okay, so music more specifically. I'm working with a young producer who's kind of coming up through the ranks, and the one thing that I see that should be real important with him, I'm focusing with him on, especially with music, is music theory. You have to understand what creates harmony. How does this all go together? A sense of timing, a sense of tempo. How does this fit together? What is a key signature? That's if those want to become a musician. Those who are just maybe looking to play a guitar and just learn an instrument and have no inspirations other than picking that up as a hobby, learn your chords. I work with guitar players. Learn the fretboard of that whole instrument that you can. Know where those notes are with it. The theory will come later. Vocalists, work on developing your voice and listen to those genres that you like, but also try and study those outside of what you like. You'd be surprised how you can find what's taken from here and there and combine your own unique sound, especially if you want to go on a music career. I've gone out and created this whole genre of music. It was scary. When I first started doing this, coming out of like the rock world, so to speak, and all of that, I couldn't even give away my first album. But you stay with it. You have to believe in it. If you don't believe in it, nobody will believe in it.
That's true. And you got to believe in yourself.
Yeah.
You got to be willing to break outside the comfort zone or what's always been, outside. You are like the epitome of, going against the grain and just being yourself and saying either you like it or you don't, but this is what you're getting. And it's done very well for you to do that.
Yeah.
So
yeah, exactly.
Kudos on just, living an authentic life where you're just like following your passion and you're listening to your intuition and you're flying. That's awesome.
Well, I've been fortunate with my fans, and I owe a lot of thanks to them for sticking beside me with all of this and giving me the support and the love that they do. That every day it makes it so much fun, because seeing how they react to a new track or hearing their stories of how it's changed their life. I mean, there's been so one of our wellpoint practitioners, she had a friend who had chronic fatigue syndrome and would not get out of bed and was just depressed, would not even move, wouldn't go anywhere. And her husband was beside himself, because here's his love of his life that is just now doesn't want to get out of bed. And she took over actually angelic sound healing. And it started with that album, and she started listening to it and just has a whole new zest for life. And it was so amazing, the transformation that she had, that her husband's like, who is this Ted Winslow? And signed her up, and she came out to one of our classes just so that she could meet me and talk about the music. And it's the fans that are like that are open and receptive to understanding it can change our life. It'll change our vibration. We are the vibration that we hold. High vibrations will always trump that negative vibration. Always.
That is so freaking awesome. I'm telling you. It is all about that. And that's why it's so important that we keep our vibration high. And your music can definitely help.
Amy, you help everybody with your high vibration. You're amazing with what you do in the daily messages and with this podcast that you do for everybody. You've been 2 years in a row. You've been the best of Boulder for psychics. So thank you for everything that you do. You're truly amazing.
Oh, thank you. So if somebody listens to your music, what's the most ideal way that they should listen? Through headphones or? Okay.
I'm going to say headphones.
Because I know that there's a certain integrity to the waves of the music.
Yeah, I do have it so that we can hear it through a laptop, because so many people are just going to put it on a laptop or something. Speakers today, I think, are becoming a long way with how they hold the vibrations and stuff. But I like headphones because as I write this, we think of like music for me when I'm writing and composing this is it's such a multi-dimensional thing, because you have x-axis, y-axis. We all have seen that in geometry and all of that. But then I like to put the depth in there. So we've got amplitude with time and depth on it. And headphones will give us that unless you do have like a surround sound. But a lot of people don't have that. So I'm sorry. I'm kind of like, I don't want to go there. Headphones. Headphones is kind of the best way to do it.
Can you do Bluetooth headphones? Or does it have to be with wire? Okay.
No, it can, in today's technology and with the way it is, we want to get that entrainment. Sometimes we're going to get it really quick. And I've made it with developing this that you can hear it on your computer and you're still going to be affected by what it is. But you keep in mind with the speakers on our computer could be limited with the cone being that much. It's a force that's trying to put it out. Whereas if you have headphones that's on, you're going to have it coming from right and left. And my music is going to be going through right and left, and it's going to have the depth on there as well. That's affecting our brain without it. That's how it affects the entrainment through part of that process that I use with SoundSync Tech. So
Okay. Will they still get some benefit if they put it on their laptop and it sucks, or you know, or if they're in their car and they just pop in to relax?
Yeah, and I don't mean
in
to be
their
like
car actually, unless it's what, theta waves.
right. And when I do them, I listen to them in all mediums because I know that people. If you're working out of a cubicle in the workspace and you need something kind of fast and quick, and maybe you can't put headphones on because you have to make sure you hear somebody trying to communicate to you, you can have it on a laptop in front of you with where you're at. You can have it onto your iPhone with just the speaker that's coming out of that too. I listen to it on all areas to make sure that those frequencies are still coming out, because I can still adjust them from my end with SoundSync Tech so that it can come out through an iPhone or come out through a big stereo sound system that you're listening to. I prefer the headphones because it will take out the outside noises and it puts you inside of your own space.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for what you've done for our planet. And thank you for coming onto this channel and having this little chat with me. I really appreciate it so much.
Oh, thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it and appreciate all that you do. So you are an amazing individual, Amy, so thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you. All right, and everybody can go to tedwinslow.com and get that free album, or do some research on him, look into him, or watch that video with me and Christina.
Yeah, if you're on Spotify, hit like on the Spotify. That helps because those algorithms start going out to more people and more people. So it's an easy way to spread it. I'm an independent musician, so I don't work with a record company. I'm terrified what they would think they would try to tell me to do. I've worked with that, right? It's they have their own agendas. I get it, but mine hasn't been about that, and it's been about helping people, and that's what's kept me in this career for building it. So, and I'm actually working with them. I'm on their platform as a beta tester for their iTunes with their streaming platform as well. So,
oh, cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess we'll talk to you the next time. Definitely say hi to Christina and the kids.
I will. She sends her love to you too as well.
Okay. All right. Have a great day.
You too.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Hey, if you like my videos, please share, subscribe, and set your bell notifications on so you'll know the moment they come out. Also, don't forget that you can go to my website and order a personal reading at amysatori.com/services. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful day.